God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations on all of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, for you are our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Ritual is the force of religion. If any of you have taken Introduction to Religion or religious studies or read anything about what makes religion religion, you will have figured out pretty quickly that there's no religion without ritual. Simply put, ritual is just repeated action, intentionally repeated action. Something that gets done with intention repetitively. All of the world's religions practice ritual. Rituals are not confined to religion, but all of the world's religions practice ritual. And rituals do this thing. They enable us to preserve, conserve, and observe what's ultimately important. Capital U, capital I. Ultimately important. It's important to note that the ritual itself is not the thing. It's the meaning that the ritual points to that's the thing. So let me make this very simple. A ritual that we do often in this country, around the world. We give birthday cakes to our kids, and we sing the happy birthday song, and we light candles, and we ask them to blow them out and to make a wish. That's a ritual, okay? The cake, the song, the candles are not the thing. The kid is the thing. Okay. Sometimes religion forgets that the ritual itself isn't the thing, that God is the thing. And you ever been to those churches where they can't even deviate from the ritual a little bit? It's got to be just so. Like the life of God is dependent on our ritual structure. What a small God that must be. Lord of mercy. Anyways. If you want to know what has ultimate importance, capital U, capital I, in a religion, in a family, in a nation, watch the rituals. Watch what they preserve and conserve in repetitive behavior. We know some places that conserve and preserve and observe patriarchy, don't we? And some homophobia, don't we? And the silencing of young people, don't we? Yeah, not all rituals are good rituals, y'all, but they do the job of preserving and conserving and observing what is ultimately important to the community that's doing the ritual. So there's this sneaky thing about ritual itself, regardless of the content. It's an incredibly effective teaching tool. Just to prove my point, I want to do a little exercise with those of you who have been around koinonia for a little while that's going to show you the power of ritual. Now, those of you that are new to our community, you're not going to be able to participate in this in the same way, but just watch, because you're part of the learning experiment here, okay? Just watch. I'm going to say something, and y'all finish where I leave off. Are you ready? No matter who you are or where you are on life's journey. That's right. May the words of my mouth and the meditations on our... That's right. Be still and know that... Good. You know all of that because of ritual. Okay, now stuff that's about place. When I ask a question, point. Are you ready? Where does the money go during offering? Toby pointed to Ed's office down the hall. Nice. That's a ritual too, baby. Make no mistake. All right, where do babies get baptized? Oh, okay. Where do sermons get preached? Where do you look for song lyrics? Woo, 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 woo. Yeah, okay. You know that because of ritual. All right, now, stuff about people. Say names out loud. Are you ready? Who leads and directs the music? Tom Ryberg. Who sings solos the most often? Trisha. Who's on the drums? Who's our tech wizard? Who preaches sermons, agitates tradition, wears fabulous boots in winter, and facilitates the centering every week? All right. All right, so great. You know that because of ritual. Okay, good. Now stuff that's about content. And this is very important. I want you to pay attention specifically to your first internal response. Okay? But we're not going to say these out loud. Just pay attention to your first internal response. And the reason we're not going to say them out loud is because I think we're going to have a lot of variance and diversity on these, which is totally right and good and true, because many of us come into this journey very differently. Amen? All right, so watch your responses internally, but stay quiet this time. Who or what do we worship here? What can you absolutely count on encountering in this space? What is the spirit of koinonia? You feel all that and know all that because of ritual. Now, if I were asking myself that last question about the spirit of koinonia, my answer would be mourning into dancing. That phrase from Psalm 30, verse 11, is the experience, the theology, the spirit of ultimate importance up in here. The song we sing, known as Mourning into Dancing, we sing it a lot. We ritualize that song. We've told you before where it comes from. Bishop Yvette Flunder, who's a saint and kind of a removed mentor in many ways to both me and TR. Black lesbian woman who founded and is presiding pastor of City of Refuge in San Francisco, a church for LGBTQIA and HIV-positive black Christians where all are welcome. She wrote that song. Her ministerial leadership and prophetic witness, her life, ritualizes that powerful phrase, that theology, this power of mourning into dancing. I want all of you to look her up on Facebook and follow her. She is one of the theologians of the 21st century. We should be paying attention to her as progressive Christians today. Bishop Yvette Flunder. So she wrote that song, and we sing that song here a lot. It's on repeat because we are trying to get at something of ultimate importance, capital U, capital I, with that song. But remember that in ritual, the song itself is not the thing, right? So what are we trying to get at if the song and the ritual isn't the thing? The song, the ritual, is about God's power. Or perhaps I should say it's about the evidence of God's power. Now, I want to take what might feel like a little detour here, or a deviation at this point, but I promise it's going to get connected and woven back in later. I'm a collage artist. I do that, right? So I want to talk to you about physics and what's going on in physics right now. It's been going on in physics for a little while. Those who study the galaxies and the cosmos are routinely affirming that there's this thing called dark matter. Say dark matter. Now, some of you geeky science buffs, how many of you are geeky science buffs? Oh, one, two, any over there? Oh, How come you're all dudes? What's up with that? All right. So some of you geeky science buffs could explain this way better than I can, but here's what I get. Dark matter is this gravitational effect, completely undetectable, completely invisible, except for the way that it impacts and affects what is visible and detectable. So there's all this stuff called luminous matter in the universe, stuff like stars and gas and dust and planets and bodies, That's luminous matter that can be detected. But all of that luminous matter in and of itself cannot be entirely explained because there's no causal force that can be observed and detected to give it the gravitational force that it has. So scientists are filling in that gap by hypothesizing that dark matter is what gives luminous matter its energy. Am I explaining this right, Roger? Thank you. So here's what trips me out, right? This undetectable dark matter that literally is in all of luminous matter, they're saying that this stuff takes up 84% of the entire universe. What? So this hypothesis first came around in the science world in the 1930s, but it's ironic because luminous darkness has been a theological category since the 3rd century. So I don't think any of us can ever say anything true about God. I think we get real close with God is love. But if you really start sparsing that out, what does love mean, right? So like any statement that we say falls short of the truth that is God, the transcendent truth that is God. I think we are all absolutely in the dark. You with me? Ooh, I'm weaving it. All right. So I will be completely honest with you. I've never read a theological book or a theory or a systematic theologian where I thought, oh, that's it, and the whole God thing made sense to me. I don't get God. Yeah, I said it. I've got an REV in front of my name, and I don't get the totality of God. I don't get the how or what of God. I certainly don't get the why or the when of God. And that's the ignorance that hurts the worst, especially when people I love and serve come to me asking why or when. But here's the thing, I do sense the power of God, sometimes briefly. And it's only observable to me by how it impacts and affects the stuff around me. Just like dark matter. I'd really be fine with God being 84% of the universe, I'm just saying. Yeah. There's a lot of hope in that for me. It'll also help get white supremacy out of theology, which is awesome. Amen? Amen. Okay, so when are those moments when God is blip, observable, detectable, because it's impacting the environment around me? So when something has gone from mourning to dancing, that is God. When something beautiful gets made out of the dust, that is God. When someone endures horrendous loss and trauma and grief and they're still breathing and opening their eyes in the morning, that is God. When someone who has felt alone and isolated and hopeless finds themselves among loving, laughing, weeping, joy-filled community, that's God. When someone who is afraid comes out of the closet and finds glorious companionship and love, that is God. When someone gets clean after a lifetime of addiction, that's God. When someone goes from depression to delight just by listening to this man play his black and whites. Y'all know that's God, right? When young black activists in Ferguson refused to let Mike Brown's death go quiet and organized to mandate justice in this country amidst all the evidence that the powers won't and don't care, that is God. When a brutalized, mocked, crucified, innocent, beautiful, life-giving, and life-saving Jesus gets resurrected on the third day, that's God. I don't know anything about God's power, but when mourning turns to dancing, that's God. I don't know how, when, where, or why mourning turns to dancing, but the gravitational evidence is all the luminous darkness I need to give thanks and praise. So, because I'm all about practice, all about behavior, and not just about theory, I want to give a short story followed by a homework assignment. All right. So, yeah, you're doing it. Don't shake your head at me. She clearly does not know I'm in charge. Anyway, so Tomat this week got together with a bunch. Was it the admin team? You guys wrote thank you letters? Yeah, okay. So, Pledge Drive Sunday was a couple weeks ago, and we took all your pledges. Thank you for that, by the way. And the admin team got together to sign thank you cards, right? Because we say thank you when people give us stuff. And they got up there to sign the cards and realized that these cards had nothing on them. So they had to personally handwrite a whole lot of thank you cards, unexpectedly, right? So they're up in this room, and Tom's telling me this story like a couple days later, and he's like, you could feel the room change as we were writing these letters of gratitude. Like you could feel the room, like when we're practicing the expression of gratitude, of saying thank you, something in us changes, right? That's God. That's God. So this week, there's a holiday that has to do with Thanksgiving and gratitude and expressing our thankfulness, and it gets co-opted in this capitalist den of sin that makes it all about turkey and pumpkin and whatever, and it robs this beautiful spiritual practice of the meat of it. Makes it about turkey instead of the meat of expressing gratitude, okay? And so here's your homework assignment. I want you to actually write a letter of thanksgiving on Thanksgiving this week to someone, anyone in your life, anyone. Like it could be your 5th grade teacher who you never said thank you to, who helped you not get bullied, right? It can be to your dead relative who you miss every single day and you want to thank them, but they're not here, so you write them a letter. It can be to your fabulous pastors. I mean, whatever you want to do, right? Write the letter of gratitude and watch what happens to you in that process. That's what Thanksgiving should be about. And because you know me, I don't really ask you to do stuff unless I'm willing to do it first. I want to thank you for being my church. I want to thank you for being the people who come and make the delight of my life this work. I want to thank you for the way that you show up in the lives of my children. I want to thank you for the ways you pull me up out of the pit and make me laugh. I want to thank you for the ways that you don't give up and you keep coming, even when it's hard. I want to thank you for the ways that you show up for each other. I want to thank you for being people who have integrity in this community. I want to thank you for being a future that looks really, really good. I want to thank you for being you. I love you. Happy Thanksgiving. Amen.